Alright, alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at Dogecoin, DOGE against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of these key pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the kind of near future here. Will we be bullish enough to bounce off of these kind of key buy zones that we had previously and kind of maintain the uptrend and interact with the 69.70 Doge level there to perhaps the dollar Doge, or are we coming back down to near worthless when we came from? Are you bullish on Doge? Are you bearish on Doge? Let me know what you're doing with your bag moving forward. Do you trade crypto? Do you hold? Do you let the price action unfold? Let me know in the comments down below. Jumping right into it, to kind of recap this sort of ridiculously bullish price action since the kind of end of like last year-ish roughly. So we have like sort of since November, coming out of accumulation under like 0.003 cents, near worthless. We've been rallying ridiculously ever since. We've been pumping hundreds of percentages and then rallying in a downward manner sideways over the course of like tens of days. Here we have an example of price action accumulating sideways along a very tight range after bouncing off of a key kind of local resistance twice. Then we've traded sideways for kind of over 2 months here along kind of 5 cents in this period of time. And then upon rallying, finding support along 5 cents, we've entered kind of a new zone of kind of accumulation here, it would appear, as we've kind of bounced off of local resistance found under 44 cents and above 36 cents. We've rallied to what appears to be local support, just like under 23 cents and above 18 cents. And so that does seem to be a kind of key range that price action could kind of make its way kind of between, kind of moving forward. I do see perhaps highs of like 44 cents and lows of 18 cents in the kind of near future here in the upcoming kind of weeks, perhaps a month or so of sideways if we do see a prolonged phase of accumulation for Dogecoin, as we are technically quite overbought still from like the kind of yearly perspective kind of thing. And so from a technical standpoint, some sideways or some bearish kind of price action is kind of needed for the uptrend to continue. But from a long-term perspective, fundamentally, we could very well still be in an uptrend, and prices could interact with those kind of like higher highs yet again. When we consider the Fibba Zucchini, Fibba Lamborghini, Fibba in a bikini with weenie dog, we can see EngineeringRobo becoming bearish on Dogecoin yet again. We can see the sell for and hell printing kind of a few days ago along this downtrend, suggesting that we could get slightly short-term bearish perhaps. And so I do suspect us to interact quite nicely with these Fibba Zucchini lines. We have the 0.236 level at 17 cents. I suspect that to be a kind of pretty low kind of bearish target that we could very well come down to if we continue to get rejected and fall through these kind of key support levels. Local support just below us is around that 0.382 level at 28 cents. We're currently trading at like 29 cents, 30 cents. So we're just above that 0.382 line. We'll be very bullish short term if we can hold above that. We have a local resistance correlating with my zone of slapping, shoving, spitting, and kicking area. We have the 0.5 line at 37 cents and the 0.618 line at kind of like 46 cents. And so that's kind of above and below sort of my kind of zone there of significant kind of resistance kind of moving forward. Just above that, these kind of next key levels, the 0.786 at 58 cents. And then just above that, we have the kind of the swing highs of 73 cents. And so I suspect before we can confirm a reversal in the uptrend, and before we can suspect some prolonged kind of like downward movement and bearish price action, I suspect that we can get another rejection off of 74 cents kind of before we can confirm their kind of reversal perhaps. These kind of sell suggestions do allow us to suspect some prolonged kind of sideways perhaps, as we do have an example of Dogecoin trading in a very sideways manner for a kind of period of time over the course of like multiple months, even after rejecting off of a kind of key local resistance twice. And so there's kind of lots going on with Dogecoin right now. We're in a very pivotal stage. Bearish suggestions at the moment against USDT, so some sideways could very much occur. When we consider the price of Dogecoin against the price of Bitcoin, the ever so ridiculous craziness that is Bitcoin at the moment, having a 50% correction over a very, very short amount of time is very scary for new investors, I'm sure. We're looking at Dogecoin. We have what appears to be some slightly more bullish price action, in my opinion. We have a key zone of accumulation, what appears to be above 783 Satoshi and under 1082 Satoshi is going to be that kind of key zone I believe we're going to be bouncing and interacting with kind of moving forward. I suspect lows of around 738, in my opinion, and kind of like perhaps the kind of like swing high resistance is going to be around 1283. And so I suspect some sideways to occur. Perhaps if we were to fail to hold that 736 line, we could come all the way back down to that 474 line. But I do suspect us to hold along this kind of like zone that I have printed there. When we consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibba Lamborghini, Fibba McSweeney's Bacon Beef Weenies, we have kind of key price action correlating with these Fibonacci lines, and we have the some more bullish suggestions against the price of Bitcoin, that we don't have these same big and scary sell suggestions that we have against USDT, and so we have these super buy and buy for printing after that sell for printed during that sideways in the beginning, middle of February there. We have the buy for coming in at the beginning of April, super buy at the end of March, but the moon was all the way back at the beginning of February of this year, and we've been above the 200 daily moving average all that time. And so we're still looking like we're in an uptrend against the price of Bitcoin, and so we could very well stay bullish, stay sideways, or perhaps see gains against the price of the volatility that is Bitcoin at the moment. And so perhaps once we start, if we fail to hold that, perhaps that 0.618 line just above my kind of support zone there, the 0.618 line is at like 802 Satoshi. If we were to fail to hold that and start interacting with that 0.5 line, I suspect some bearish sell suggestions to start printing, and some perhaps prolonged sideways against the price of Bitcoin could occur. But at the moment, we are still looking at rather bullish long term, in my opinion. Local resistance around the 0.786 line at 1015 Satoshi, which is kind of just below my kind of key zone of shoving, kicking, spitting, and punching. And then we have some kind of like bearish targets around the 0.382 line, around 500 Satoshi, just above my 471 kind of support zone there. So lots going on with crypto, lots going on with Doge. If we consider the crypto, Bitcoin against USDT, stablecoin that nobody really understands. We have craziness, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD. We have a very nice bounce, what appears to be a very nice bounce off that 0.5 zucchini line. 34,000 was a kind of key support level that we seem to be kind of rallying off of. I suspect us to come up to perhaps like 36,000 even. As long as we're under this kind of like 200 daily moving average, prices are going to be very volatile in a very kind of bearish manner. We could have some very scary wicks downward as we accumulate kind of sideways and kind of recover and find support along these kind of key zones. Local, or like a very bearish kind of support target is going to be around 32K. Local resistance is going to be all the way up there at 41K. I suspect price action is going to have a very volatile, wide range of sideways that we could bounce in. We're going to have some multi-$1,000 moves upward and downward over the course of the next coming weeks, I suspect. And so a bottom along here would be very nice, and some accumulation would be very nice. This is a very great buying opportunity. There's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin. There's only better times. And so, accumulating along these levels is going to be very bullish long term, as we haven't seen them since kind of the very beginning of this year, which is not that long ago. We have the super sell and sell for coming in at the kind of middle of May there, kind of to suggest that we are going to continue that downtrend, that break downward. But I was suggesting that we were going to find resistance along 57K for quite some time back when we were first bouncing off of 49K. I did suspect that we could very well interact with that as resistance and kind of break downward, even though I was bullish with the super buy and buy for, suspecting that we were going to break upward and interact with 64K again. Technically, we could have broken downward, and so I was prepared for that price action based on kind of like how we were unfolding. We were accumulating upward, broke downward, came up as a retest to continue the downtrend, and we are interacting with my kind of bearish targets here. And so upon interacting with all of my kind of short-term bearish targets, I am perhaps short-term sideways on Bitcoin at the moment until we start seeing some of these kind of buy suggestions come into play again. Perhaps once we start seeing some buy signals again, and then we can start becoming more short-term bullish, and we can start kind of expecting the trend to continue upward. But right now we could see some prolonged sideways and some key times to be accumulating. When we consider the fear and greed index, we can see that the FOMO zone there was all the way up at 91K. So the bull run has a potential to exhaust around like 91K still. So this could very well be the final dip before we start to see that 100K level And so there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market that has to kind of settle, and we have to find support before we can kind of move forward. Now that you know, certain fundamental aspects are kind of exhausting, we need to kind of get back to where the trend is going. And so in this volatile state, there's going to be a very excessive moves up and down, in my opinion, in the kind of near future. And so I'd be very careful before jumping into a project, an altcoin, or even Bitcoin at this kind of very point in time, as we are at still a kind of bottoming phase, and we could very well see some very aggressive wicks downward toward these kind of support levels here. Now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Try all the other social media down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish on Bitcoin, on Dogecoin? Do you buy? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? Do you trade? Do you scalp the market, like sniper entries and exits, or do you just hold through all this crazy sideways? And are you in it for the long run? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.